Cafe Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Rioch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Andrei Mincov, CEO of Trademark Factory, the only firm in the world that offers trademark registration services with a guaranteed result for a guaranteed budget. So, Andrei, what, when, and why should entrepreneurs trademark?
Sure. Obviously, there's a much longer answer to your question, but if I were to summarize it, they should trademark their brand, whatever brand elements are important for them to be able to stop their competitors from copying as soon as possible. And they should obviously do it with Trademark Factory. Now, in the remaining time for me to unpack this, let me do this. So first thing people need to realize is that trademarking is a long process. It takes over a year in the US, takes about 4 years in Canada, takes about 9 months in the European Union. So it's not like a domain name that you pick a name, you go out there in 2 minutes, after 20 bucks or whatever, $8, you have the domain name. It's a long process and not everything is trademarkable. So one other thing people need to realize is that trademarks are about similarity. They're not about identical matches. So you can't just misspell a word or you can't misspell somebody's brand and claim it as yours. You can't add a number at the end of somebody's brand and claim it. That's not how it works. So first thing you want to do is you want to figure out what's even trademarkable. You came up with a name, great. You came up with a logo, amazing. Doesn't necessarily mean you can own them. So assuming that you can, then the next question is, should you do it and when? Right? And the answer to that question is, because it's a long process, you ask yourself two simple questions. First question is, will I still be operating under this brand 2-3 years from now if I'm successful with my business? Right? Some businesses, they're designed to be temporary, right? They're designed to be short term. So if that's you, you don't need a trademark. If you are planning to be around 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now, then that's your first yes to that question. The second question you ask yourself is, assuming I'm still around with that brand, does the brand do anything? Does it add any value to my business? Does it make it any easier for me to find clients? Does it make it any easier for me to sell to those clients? Does it make it any easier for me to attract better talent who wants to work for me? Does it increase my valuation if I decide to sell the business, franchise the business, get investors? Like all of those questions, if the answer to any of those questions is yes, the brand will have some value. Then really the direction that I'll give you is go and trademark that stuff as soon as you possibly can, because your brand is never going to be more trademarkable than it is today. It was the most trademarkable the second you came up with it. And then the registrability only goes down because there are other people coming up with similar brands. Like in the US, they file 700,000 trademarks every year. That's 2,000 trademarks a day. That's a lot of trademarks, right? While we're having this wonderful short interview, someone may be filing a trademark that's too close to what the listener is hoping to
back to what you're saying. Companies start and people have ideas every minute.
Yes, exactly. And if they come up with something similar, even independently, you're screwed if you haven't trademarked your brand, because trademarking is the only way to legally own your brand. Really, in fact, what I usually say is, without a trademark, not only do you not own your brand, that's clear. You don't even have a brand. What you have is a dream. Like you have a word, of an image, a phrase that you want to be your brand, but it doesn't become your brand until you can legally stop your competitors from using that same brand or similar brand to sell their stuff.
Well, Andrei, from what you've said, I think it's fair to say, and I've seen that here, obviously to answer all the questions of how long am I going to be around, if this is going to be worth anything, what I got, and this is what we practice here anyway, is the sooner you start, the better, whether it's going to last or not. Because as you grow your idea or start your company by evolving and whatever it is, everything's evolutionary. So what many people find out is that further down the line, they see people trying either to copy their brand or copying their name, and then maybe it's a little bit too late. So is there something like being the first in line? Is there value to that?
There's value in filing your trademark first, because even if you've been in business for some time before someone else goes out and files their trademark, you might be able to win if you spot their trademark early on and if you've got the resources to fight it. But if you think about it from this perspective, fighting someone's trademark that was filed before you had the foresight to file yours, it's probably going to cost you around $100K. Filing your own trademark first is going to cost you a few $1,000s.
See.
like there are expenses that we're going to have in our business. If we are doing something that's a business, that's not a hobby, we are going to have expenses, whether it's trademarking, whether it's setting up your business company, whether it's hiring people. We are going to spend money on something, right? And if it turns out that
that's true.
And if it turns out that the business we started is a failure, well, yeah, we're going to take a loss and come up with something new. That's how entrepreneurship works. That's why we get the reward when we come up with something. But to that,
even if you fail, even if a company fails and you have the trademark, it's still yours.
Very true. Very
could be
true.
revived. Somebody could come around and want to buy you or whatever. So there is value to that, isn't there?
Very, very true. Trademarks, like any other asset, are sellable, they're licensable, and you can do something with it, even if your actual business model wasn't necessarily the most successful out there.
Well, in this global world, you may not be a success in country A, and then you decide to go to country B, or country C finds you.
But that brings me to the question you didn't ask, is where to trademark. Because trademarks are not global, right? You get trademarks on a per country basis. And for that, we have the rule of thumb is you start with your home country always.
Right.
The second layer, you look at countries where you expect to have a significant number of buyers who are going to pay you for your products or services. To me, the magic number is if you're planning to generate at least 30K annually from a country, go get a trademark there. The third layer is countries where you have a lot of expenses, whether you have an office there or you target ads to that country. Again, the magic number is 5K plus a year. If you spend 5K plus a year, go get a trademark there. And lastly, if you are in the business of selling physical products and you make those physical products overseas, even if you have no plans of selling your products there, get a trademark there, because if you don't and somebody else does, they can prevent you from exporting your own stuff out of that country.
So I guess the real question is that I didn't ask, who should you ask for help to get your trademark, and how can they find you?
Yeah, so Trademark Factory, as you said, we are the only firm in the world that offers trademark registration services with a guaranteed result for a guaranteed budget. What that means is that you're not paying for our time, you're not paying for us to file your trademark, you're paying us to give you the result that you want, a registered trademark. We have a 99.3% rate of success, which is unheard of in this industry, with the average being 51.7. And we have a 100% money back guarantee in case your trademark doesn't go through. That's why we prefer to not screw up. And so you go to trademarkfactory.com, you'll see a way to request a free call with one of our strategy advisors who are going to be able to help you answer the questions that you were asking me in this interview. What do I start with? Which country do I go for? Do I start with my name? Do I start with a logo? Oh, we also have a tagline. Like, and that's what that conversation is for. And if you feel there's a good fit, they'll be able to help you get started.
Very good. Well, thanks for being here, Andrei.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
And again, for our listeners, it's Andrei Mincov. It's Andrei, the last name Mincov. Mincov. Find him on LinkedIn and trademarkfactory.com. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.